Hi, I'm Gina, a Tropical Vedic Astrologer from hercosmiccrown.com, and sometimes I do esoteric deep dives on some of my favorite films. After watching The Black Swan for the umpteenth time recently, I noticed the film paralleled some fascinating Rahu and Ketu themes, which are the north and south nodes of the moon, respectively. Before we dive into them, let's do a quick overview of the film. Warning, this video contains some juicy spoilers and some intense topics. Nina Sayers, played by Natalie Portman, is a woman in her 20s who is innocent and childlike. She has a girly pink bedroom that looks like it belongs to an 11-year-old. Also, she's a ballerina auditioning for both the Black and White Swan for the Swan Lake Ballet. Thomas Leroy, played by Vincent Cassel, the artistic director and teacher, stated, "If I were only casting the White Swan, she'd be yours, but I'm not. Because Nina is innately pure and sheltered, it's easy for her to dance the White Swan. The problem is she hasn't integrated her shadow, so to speak. She only allows herself to be good and perfect. Rahu and Ketu reside in the dark because those are the parts of our subconscious, and Nina's about to catapult there. Rahu and Ketu influence the lunar and solar eclipses and are responsible for the fated events in our lives. Unable to see them with the naked eye, they're where the moon's orbit intersects the ecliptic plane, which is the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun. They reveal where there's a subconscious imbalance in our lives. Ketu exemplifies what we've been working on in the past and what we're comfortable with, while Rahu shows what's new that we need to develop. They are always in exact opposite signs of one another and represent how we can vacillate between two extremes as we try to find balance. By working on our Rahu, we can get a new perspective and release our grip on what feels safe and controlled, which is Ketu, and venture into the unknown, which is Rahu. Rahu and Ketu are opposite forces, just as the colors black and white are opposite. Throughout the film, we see the juxtaposition between these extreme colors. At the beginning of the film, Nina is clad in white or in other light colors to symbolize her virginity and virtue, where many other characters wear black or other dark colors since they've symbolically embraced their dark side on some level. Leroy seems to understand that everyone has not only a light side to them, but also a dark one, and tries to provoke Nina's inner demons. Nina eventually gets the lead role after she bites Leroy when he tries to kiss her, proving that she has a shadow side and can potentially play the Black Swan. Leroy invites her to his luxury apartment. His black and white decor includes what looks like a huge Rorschach test, which includes arbitrary ink blots that some psychotherapists use to get a glimpse into their patient's subconscious based on how they describe the abstract patches. Similarly, Rahu and Ketu represent the subconscious realm. Leroy hopes to pull out what's in her subconscious by her losing herself because she's too rigid in her ways. Wherever Ketu is in our chart, it's going to make us uptight in that area. He gives her a homework assignment for her to go home and touch herself. He says this so that she can, quote unquote, live a little. Rahu is also the occult part of ourselves that we haven't developed, but we must explore Rahu so that we obtain a healthy balance and get unstuck. It's the unknown where we encounter strange people and places who are reflections of the enigmatic parts of ourselves. Nina sees herself in others. One minute we see another character, the next we see Nina's face juxtaposed on the body of that character. Rahu reflects what's in our subconscious into the world, and this can seem strange and confusing. Ketu is what we eliminate, what we perfect, what we master, and how we become liberated. It's our perceived comfort zone, but it's also where we tend to be uptight. We're using Ketu from a limited perspective. And in order to get a new perspective, Rahu hurls us into a new territory where we have to navigate. As we get older, we generally get less of what Ketu represents in our chart and more of Rahu so that we can work on Rahu. At Nina's core, she's a seemingly innocent virgin who's sheltered and childlike. Her mother tries to protect her from the evils in the world by keeping her unstained in her pretty world. Ketu is the protector of the fort, as seen by her mother. Ketu shows things that are hidden from us and the things we hide from others. Things can't stay buried for long, though. They must emerge at some point, and sometimes in unpredictable ways. In Nina's case, she has a rash on her shoulder, which she claws, illustrating the vile ooze within that's itching to be released. Throughout the film, we see Nina slowly being drawn to the dark side. It starts with her stealing another ballerina's things. Then she goes to a bar with Lily, played by Mila Kunis. Lily gives Nina a black top to borrow, and when she puts it on over her white one, it's almost as if Rahu engulfs her. When Nina comes out of the bathroom, Nina catches Lily spiking her drink and is hesitant to drink it at first, but she ends up guzzling it down anyway. During the last scene of the film, Nina is performing the White Swan, and the dark beast she's dancing with, who can be interpreted as a Rahu figure who stalks her and eventually overcomes her, like the moon does the sun during the eclipse. The moon represents our sense perception, and the nodes of the moon, which are Rahu and Ketu, can sometimes give us a false sense of reality. Perhaps these nodes are causing Nina to lose her grip on reality. What separates Nina and Lily? Do two exact opposing forces not equal the same thing? Both the extreme dark and the bright light can both be blinding? Perhaps Lily represents the shadow side of Nina's consciousness. The key to understanding Rahu is that we're living in a realm where, for number one, is full of illusions, and number two, where we experience things as separate existences instead of seeing the one in all things. The reflections of our inner struggles are our friends who assist us on our paths. As we have more experience with Rahu, the more balanced life can potentially become, seeing things as a whole and no longer swinging between extreme polarities. We begin to see through the illusion of separation, which is the conditioned consciousness that the moon represents. This masterpiece gives us a sneak peek into Nina's world, where we see how the almost unrealistic demands of being perfect as a professional ballerina can take a toll on one's mental health. These young women have to be proper, thin, beautiful, and unblemished. They're reminded that they have only a few decades to prove themselves worthy in this cutthroat industry, where many have to retire by their late 30s or early 40s due to the physical demands of this art. When Nina finally loses herself, she loses her mind as well, and unintentionally impales herself with glass because she thought that she was stabbing Lily instead of herself. This once innocent girl penetrates herself, staining her pure image. She has not only symbolically lost her virginity or innocence, but she has also integrated her darker animalistic instincts, represented by the Black Swan. I feel as though Nina didn't have a healthy balance between her light and dark sides. She suppressed the dark, which eventually consumed her. But perhaps that's what needed to be done so that she can find balance in her life and finally be liberated. When Nina performs the White Swan at the end, there's a full moon in the background, symbolizing the completion and fulfillment of her actions. But like a full moon eclipse, what we've been expecting gets derailed out of the blue because the sun swallows the moon. In the final scene, we see her dancing in front of the sun, symbolizing her sacrificing her ego, with her arms and body forming a cross, the ultimate surrender pose. After the classical music climaxes and she gracefully falls, the glaring injury to her stomach is exposed as the blood seeps through the white fabric more and more. With Leroy and all of the ballerinas surrounding her with an emphatic round of applause, Lily notices the blood and points to it, and everyone is horrified, and Leroy calls for help. Nina's last line was, "I felt it." Perfect. It was perfect. The film ends with the audience viewing the ceiling stage lights from Nina's vantage point, and we're blinded by the white light that spreads across Nina's face. After she was launched into the Rahu territory, I think that she had a different perspective on what was perfect, so to speak. Perhaps perfect didn't mean that she had flawless pirouettes or maintained the ideal weight, but that she realized that everything is operating as it should. Dark, light, controlled, and out of control. Perhaps she has a different perspective and loosens her grip on her previous concepts. She lost herself, literally and figuratively, and is now liberated because she sacrificed her ego and body and has become whole again. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, let me know what film you would like me to analyze next, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.